What is good, YouTube? It's your boys back again, the dynamic duo from Unapologetically Men. And I am your host, Max, aka
What is
Maximilian.
good?
And I got my boy with me tonight,
Lando's in the building.
Mr. Lando. How you doing today, sir?
Man, I'm doing great. I'm having an energetic beginning of the week, man.
Man, I tell you, what's the story behind that? Well, how you feeling today?
Well, I'm doing pretty good because I was just well rested over the weekend, and
Hmm.
I had some goals that I set out to accomplish, and I got them done, and it
Nice,
happened in a timely manner. I mean,
nice.
just being in my masculine, that's what I do. It's like I always got to finish what I start. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Oh yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. I'm feeling the weather changing. I'm ready. I'm ready for the spring to come around. Ready for that summer. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
So
that's what I'm saying, man.
got to get out this house and do stuff. You feel me?
Absolutely.
So uh tonight's podcast we're talking about it's we did a list not that long ago. Uh, Mr. Landa, you want to tell us about that list that we did for them?
Yeah. It was a while ago. It was during that time when you were out taking care of business, and I had
Yeah,
to hold it down.
yeah.
I introduced to our audience a top 10 list of why it's impossible to have an honest conversation with women. So right now we're coming at you with a brand new list
Brand new
of
list.
top 10 things that women miserably fail at.
Absolutely. So we're gonna run this top 10 list down for you right now, starting with the least important. I wouldn't even call it least important, but we just put it in a particular order that we felt was comfortable based on our experiences and many men's experiences across the world. So
Yeah.
we're gonna go ahead and start you off with number 10 on the list. Mr. Lando, what is number 10?
Number 10 is follow through. Now, what we're talking about with follow through is how when you say something, you got to follow it up with the action and do it.
Hmm.
And more oftentimes than not, you will find women that say they will do something, and then when the time comes to put the rubber where the rubber meets the road, and they're supposed to do it, they don't.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know that you find them often say something and then it just never happens. It comes to fruition. It just doesn't
Yeah,
come.
even
You
when
know.
it comes to the smallest, most insignificant, most easy things to do.
Hmm.
Like, say if a woman says, "Hey, I'll call you later," like,
Hmm.
and she'll give you like a specific time or range when she'll call you, and then that time comes,
And
it
it
doesn't
passes.
happen.
Right.
Or,
Right.
or, or either I'll pay you back. Same
Mm.
thing.
Same.
Doesn't
Right.
happen.
Right. Right. And I know in some of my cases, if I particularly make a deal with somebody maybe I was dating at the time,
Hmm.
I'll follow through on my end of the bargain. And in their time to come up with their end of the bargain, it don't happen.
Right. And the thing is, as men, we have this thing that we live by, and it's not even it's an unwritten rule. It's something that's kind
Hmm.
of like written into our biology that
Hmm.
we only have two things in this life: our word and our balls, and we try not to break them for nobody because
Absolutely.
you know that saying. How's it go, Ed?
Oh, yeah. A man is only as good as his word.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So
So it's like we gotta maintain that.
absolutely, absolutely. So that brings us to number 9 on the list, Mr. Lando. What's number 9?
Number nine is true selflessness. Now, this covers a range of different things.
Hmm.
Basically, it's basically where you don't think about yourself first or even middle. You know,
Hmm.
sometimes not even at all when it comes to doing certain things. Like if you want to help somebody out with something, you're
Hmm.
not thinking about how is this going to benefit me, or you're not having a conversation of someone else's life, but then you want to
Hmm.
inject yourself into the middle of the story to illustrate how you would do it different if it was you, or how
Hmm.
you don't experience those things. So how could this happen?
Right, and
You know,
I think that has a lot to do with them having a hard time working together as a team. Especially when it's a all female team cast. You often find them often bickering in a
yeah,
short amount of time.
yeah. There's different levels of competition that's happening.
Hmm.
Similar to like that Survivor show that was on some time
Right,
ago, how
right,
the women
right,
were put on a desert island.
right, right. Yeah, I
You know,
remember
it's
that
like
show.
everybody in that group was thinking about themselves. Oh, my hair is getting messed up. Oh, I'm hungry. Oh, I'm cold.
Just
None of them,
completely
yeah,
oblivious.
it's like none of them could take themselves out of the equation long enough to be like, we need to do this to put together some shelter.
Right, right,
All the
right.
men before the sun started to go down, they had a fire and they had some shelter.
Hmm.
But the women, they went like 3 freaking days getting rained on, didn't have nothing, and they kept going to the men because they needed some stuff for themselves.
Right,
They
right.
didn't know how to pull themselves out of the situation in order to solve the problems.
I feel, I feel. We're gonna slide on to number eight, and number eight is creativity.
Oh yeah.
We often find, that a lot of females just don't think outside the box, or when let's say hypothetically speaking, you dating some chick, and it comes Valentine's Day, you don't went all out, and what does she
Mhm.
do? Just give you some pussy. It's like no creativity whatsoever. It was like we not expecting flowers and shit like that, but I mean, come on, man, you could do a little bit better. Like you get pussy all the time. Like
Well,
if this your girl.
I mean, generally when it comes to women, they expect everyone to do the thinking for them. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Yeah, oh
And
yeah.
them being the receivers of things,
Hmm.
they always expect things to be impressive or grandiose, or something that they can't even achieve themselves.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So it's like you being the man, like you brought up Valentine's Day. If you
Hmm.
come with flowers, she'll be like, "Oh, that's just too ordinary." But if you ask her to do something creative for you, what is she gonna think of?
Mm.
You know what I mean? She
Right.
she probably can't even cook an original meal. And if you want to talk about things on a larger scale,
Hmm.
look at our entertainment industry. When do women have an original creative thought? Usually
Yeah.
they're recycling ideas that have already been established by men.
Oh, absolutely. And
And if
it's funny is that they accept that as as female empowerment. Like why? Like why would you accept that as female
Mhm,
empowerment? Like you're just redoing what shit that men have done.
right.
So,
And the funny thing is too, they're looking like the new movie that's coming out.
mhm.
What was it called? Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
Now, it's based on a character that is not really an original character in itself.
Mhm.
Because when you look at the origin story of Captain Marvel, she took on the mantle of the actual Captain Marvel, which was a man.
Mhm.
When he passed away, she absorbed his powers and basically became what he was.
Mm.
So
Got
it's like her story is not even that drama filled.
you. Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
There is no character development in her. You know, she
Right.
didn't have to
And then
like fight some inner demon to create balance so she can mature to actually hold the responsibility of these powers. You know
right.
what
And
I
that's just seems to be what's running rampant in Hollywood in general, like with the
mean?
shit that they're putting out. But that brings us to the next top point. Slide on over to number seven. Getting to the point. Like it just
Oh,
don't.
dude.
They just ramble on and on and on, and don't ever get to the point. Like you can jump from I mean, not you could tell a good story, but
Mhm.
the best storytellers typically aren't fucking females. Like the bitches take forever to get to the point.
Oh, dude. You know what? Perfect example.
Hmm.
Go to any video that's featuring a woman,
Hmm.
right? Even
Hmm.
if it's something that's predominantly female inspired, like a makeup tutorial or how to do hair or something,
Yeah.
whatever it is that women are interested. I guarantee you, if you go to it and you look at, okay, the point of this video is this,
Hmm.
she won't get to talking about whatever it is the video is supposed to be until 5 minutes later.
Right. It's like the last 5 minutes of the show too.
Yeah, I mean that is like the best example I can really give. You
Mm,
know, where anybody can check that out.
gotcha.
Anybody can observe that. And
Gotcha.
in your own personal lives, I mean, I'm sure you've had conversations with women and they were like, "Oh yeah, guess what happened to me today?" And then they
Hmm.
want to start off with, "I woke up this morning."
Right.
They want to give you the whole life
Right.
story.
You get all the way to the end, and it's like, oh, that's the end. Like, like why you tell me all this shit?
Yeah.
It's like, It's like anticlimactic, you know.
Yeah,
It's like,
it's like women can't just tell you something; they want to take you through the whole experience
oh my god, dude,
because
yes, sir.
they're feeling creatures.
And what's even trippier is like they take you through the whole fucking experience, and they expect you to have the same damn emotion that they do.
Oh yeah,
And you just look at them like, you know, you could be eating an apple or something. It's like,
yeah. The apple just starts turning brown before you can finish it because you wait for her to get to the damn point.
right, right. So that kind of, let's slide on into number six. Number six, we talking about empathy. Number six is empathy. Mr. Lando,
Oh,
speak on that.
empathy. That's self-explanatory right there. It's the
Absolutely.
ability to identify emotionally with another person.
Hmm.
Speaking in general, it's like women don't have the ability to empathize
Hmm.
unless it's a negative emotion,
Mm.
which is interesting.
Right.
And to further clarify on that, like say if you as a man is telling a woman about something that you're going through,
Hmm.
when you start talking about what you're going through, she doesn't really care because what's that got to do with her?
Right. How can she?
Right.
She's not benefiting from it, so it's
Right.
out of sight, out of mind.
Right, right. It's like, okay, she can't feel what you're feeling because it's got nothing to do with her, and she
Hmm.
probably just generally doesn't have enough care for you as a human being to
Right.
even try to empathize.
And which is funny because, you know, or it's, I wouldn't say funny, but like interesting because, you know, it used to be studies, you know, from a long time ago about how narcissistic men are, but
Hmm.
then it's like women were going undiagnosed with that. So it now it's starting to shift, and you just see so many narcissistic, you know, females, you know, out here, and they're actually getting diagnosed with this shit. You know,
Hmm.
BPD, you know, narcissism. It's just thinking like women, you know, there's so many fucking
Only time
non-empathetic females out there. Like these bitches just be narcissistic to begin with. I don't know if they like
now
have
they can
anything
empathize
happen
with
to them.
negative
And
emotions.
say that again.
They can empathize with negative emotions,
Hmm.
like a motivator. Like, say if a woman's talking to another woman about something bad that's happened to her,
Right.
she won't empathize with the pain, but she will empathize with the will for vengeance. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, yeah. Speaking on that, that's
Yeah,
facts right there, son.
that's what I'm talking about as far as negative emotions.
Right, right. I
It's
got you.
like
I got you.
women will develop the hive mind of, okay, we need to do something to this guy,
Right,
or
right,
either at the very minimum, we both hate this guy.
right. Or it's most of the time I always find that they hating some other female.
Hmm.
They're like, this bitch gotta die. It's like,
Yeah,
God, hey,
'cause
like why y'all?
that's the competition anxiety. That's a
Right,
whole different discussion.
right, 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 right. So let's slide on number five. Number five is, damn, shut up. They just don't know how to shut up. They fail at shutting up. Like they just can't stop talking. Like, and it's not even something important. They just want to either push buttons, so they're just gonna keep on going on and on and on about something,
Hmm.
and you just want to have peace and quiet,
Right
and it
now,
just doesn't happen.
this shutting up could pertain to many things. It could
Right,
pertain to
right.
pushing buttons.
Hmm.
Like if she just want to get the last word in,
Hmm.
or it could pertain to what you're trying to say. She doesn't want it to mean that. So like
Right.
if you get to the point and tell her emphatically and directly whatever it is you're talking about,
Hmm.
she will drive the conversation into the ground because she don't agree with it and she's trying to curve it to mean something else.
Right. She trying to interject her own interpretation in it, disregarding what you're saying.
Right. And she won't be quiet about it because you're not invested in the excuse me, you're not invested in the conversation no more.
Hmm. Yeah,
You've
and
already got the point across.
right, and I had this recent experience with my own mother, so
Mhm.
it's like
Or
God.
another aspect, and I just thought about this,
Hmm.
relating to not shutting up, is how she could want to get her point across, and
Hmm.
then you listen, you hear, and you
Oh,
would just accept it. You're like, okay, I understand. But here's the difference:
right.
the reaction you gave is not the reaction she wanted. So
Mm-hmm.
she'll keep talking until she gets the reaction she wants.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel you. Feel you. Which brings us to number four, which number four is kind of tied into shutting up, and it's on the flip side, and they don't freaking listen.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah,
want to listen. Number four is listening.
yeah.
Failure.
Listening is a little bit different. I mean,
Right, right.
it can tie to
I said
shutting up.
it's the other side of that coin.
Yeah, it can. Yeah, it does kind of relate to shutting up in the aspect of usually women don't listen
Hmm.
for the purpose of understanding. They
Hmm.
listen for the purpose of responding.
Right, right,
So
right.
if you say something, she's only hearing what you got to say, so she can
Selective hearing.
concoct
Yeah,
a response.
we call that selective hearing.
Right. She wants to concoct a response, and she has no idea what you just said because she's more interested in winning the debate or
Oh
the
yeah,
argument.
absolutely.
A lot of times it's not even a debate or an argument.
Hmm.
Us as men having a conversation is an exchange of information
Hmm. Right,
and
right.
ideas to come to a conclusion. But for
Hmm.
women, having a conversation is okay. I'm going to get the last word, and I'm supposed to be right.
Right.
That's
And
the
you know what's
definition of a conversation.
right, and what's even funnier, tying into that is how society has this kind of a stigma, or it's like this. It's not even a unspoken rule. It's a spoken rule that your woman is always right, or you shouldn't argue with her. Like they condition these beta men these to be all blue pill and to
Mm.
say, oh, you're never going to win an argument with a woman. Like fuck, what?
Mhm. Yeah,
What
I mean,
kind of
well,
shit
I
you?
guess in the context, like if you're never going to win an argument with a woman if you want to come to an agreeable solution.
Mm,
That's
mm,
what it's about.
right.
If it depends on what you're looking for. If you want to come
Hmm.
to some like a solution,
Hmm.
you're never going to get there because she's more invested in fighting than anything else.
Absolutely, absolutely. There's no resolution. They don't speak in terms of resolution.
But in a woman's mind, winning an argument is having the last word. The
Oh
last
yeah.
word don't even have to
It
even
doesn't
be
even have to
related to what you're
pertain to
talking
the
about.
right. It said it don't even have to pertain to the argument.
Yeah, it's like you could be in a conversation and you could say bacon tastes good and walk the fuck out, and she'll be left dumbfounded, like you know,
Right.
and you can count that as a win because you had the last word and you shut up. But does that solve the problem? No.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Oh man, let's jump on to number three. Number three, we're getting to the top. We're getting through this top 10, ladies and gentlemen. Even we got some ladies out there that's even fucking listening, but maybe you need to be listening because this is some shit you need to be studying up on. Like, you want to be
Oh
a good
man,
woman.
if
Fucking
there's any women listening, if they're listening,
right.
just like we were talking,
which is the one we talking about.
not hearing, listen. There's a
Listening.
difference.
There is a difference. But
But,
number
but
three,
all
no,
jokes aside, all
yeah,
jokes aside, if they are listening, some of them are probably got their hand on their hip, like I don't do that.
right,
Nobody in my family does that.
right.
And you know what? That kind of bounces all the way down into selfishness,
Yep.
taking yourself out the context. All right,
Absolutely, absolutely. Slide on to number three is consistency.
all right.
I've had a lot of experience with the a woman failing to be consistent. Man, you try to make things work in a relationship. If you out there, dating and still whatnot. Been there, done that, blue pilled, now red pilled man here. Uh, just having a bitch be consistent. You do X, Y, and Z for her, and then you's like, okay, well, I expect X, Y, and Z out of my woman, and that shit lasts for what, 2 weeks tops, and then it's back to the same old bullshit.
Oh yeah, consistency that kind of goes hand in hand, kind of with Briffault's law.
Hmm.
It's like as men, we're expected to be consistent
Right,
because we always have to perform. You know what I
right,
mean? But a
right,
woman, she will do one thing right and expect that to not have an expiration date. Like that's
right.
supposed to cover the whole
Oh
relationship.
yeah, oh yeah, and they
Like,
want
oh
they
yeah,
want they want praise for that one fucking thing.
hmm yep.
You
and
know.
there's like so many other things that they're supposed to bring to the table. So if you say, "Oh, woman, you ain't working, you need to get a job," and she'd be like, "Well, you remember that one time I cooked that one meal
Mhm. Right.
5 years ago?"
Right. Right. You know,
Yeah.
it just and that the Brifo's law you mentioned, like, that made me think of with her being non-consistent, with doing the things she do, like they just sweep stuff under the rug, you know.
Hmm.
It just it goes out, it comes in and goes out, and like there's no established pattern, you know.
Right.
They do it long enough to feel that you've been satisfied, then like, okay, I can go back to doing what I was doing before.
Yeah. They look for like a signal or some sort of confirmation. I'm sorry
Hmm.
that they did something right, and they'll be like, "Oh, I did something right," so he shouldn't have anything to complain about ever again. And then they
Right.
just drop everything and
Right.
fall back in the same patterns, negative patterns that you thought you resolved.
Right. Oh yeah. Right.
Now, for
And
those of you just tuning in, what we're doing a top 10 list of things that women miserably fail at. We're going to try and
hmm
come up with more top 10 lists as things goes on. This is the
hmm
kind of capitalize on the top 10 list that we did some time ago about why it's impossible to have an honest conversation with women.
hmm
So, yeah, we're just kind of flowing off this. All right, right back
yeah.
to you, Max.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That brings us to number two. We getting down to the top two. Top two things. Number two on the list. Ready for this? Honesty.
Oh,
They just ain't honest, man.
oh, dude.
God, you gotta be on your game. You gotta be on your game to listen to what these bitches saying, because and you catching what they're saying, you know it for a fact that it ain't true.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's why I always pay attention to their actions more than their
Hmm.
words. Like if their
Hmm.
lips is moving, I'm just like, uh-huh, uh-huh.
Oh yeah.
And then I look at what they do, and then that tells me what
Oh yeah.
they're and that's kind of why, the PUAs, they have all these little things that they do to cater to a woman's emotions because
Right.
they kind of know that a woman is never going to be honest. So you have
No,
to you
no.
have to play the game to kind of pull her strings and keep her wound up
Right.
so
And you
you
know
can
that.
have on the pattern that you want to be in.
Yeah,
And
and then that there's a saying that says, how when you tell a woman is lying, she open her mouth.
mhm,
That's how you know. And
yeah,
and that's even in a two part on honesty. They just don't be honest with themselves either.
yeah, and I don't want to say that women are intentionally honest.
Hmm.
It's not that. It's just their biology. It's their nature to just
Right.
not be honest.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now, in case in point, I'll give you something you can test. Right?
Hmm. Oh, this is gonna be good right
Anytime
here.
anytime you're talking to a woman
Hmm.
and she says something, and this goes back to my our top 10 list of why it's impossible to have an honest conversation with women.
Yeah. And I'm gonna link that into
Yeah,
to our
definitely
video
link
this
that in
time
the
too.
description box
Yeah. Right. Right.
so people can reference that.
Right.
But whenever you're holding a conversation with a woman over a period of time, throughout the time that you are associate with her,
Hmm.
you will find that there are holes in her story or things that she claims to do but not really do.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
it's just the weirdest thing.
Nah, nah. I
That
tell you.
that's and I think it comes from a place of uh hyperbole
Hmm.
and just trying to puff themselves up to seem more impressive than what they are.
Right. It's kind of like a
But,
peacock, a peacock showing its feathers. But I mean,
yeah,
peacocks born at
so,
that stuff.
yeah. I mean that stuff always falls apart.
Right.
It
Right.
always falls apart. That's why I let a woman do as much talking as they want. I don't mind
Right.
because during that time they're telling on themselves.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah, dude.
They're, they're, they're pretty much getting most of the lies out of the way, and then when you hit like
Absolutely.
some of the biggest lies, that's when you know, okay, it's not even worth going forward
Right.
with dealing with this chick anymore because she's
It's
already
not.
told like 5 or 6 lies
Yep.
within 10 minutes of knowing you.
And it's so easy to spot these things when you're a red pill man. As a blue pill, as a beta male,
Hmm.
girls will work you over, cuz.
Oh yeah, because as a blue pill, you're thinking that these women deserve the benefit of the doubt, being that you're just getting to know them.
Right, right.
You
And
know,
and
you
and
feel
you have
like,
and you're stuck with this complex of a woman as a goddess, woman that can't do no wrong because that's what you've been brought
like,
up
why
in.
would a woman lie? Women are victims in a lot of different things, and it's
Yeah.
like, no, women set shit up.
Yeah.
It's,
Oh yeah.
you know,
Absolutely.
I heard a woman tell me that she was taught as a young girl to never obligate herself to a man.
Hmm.
Now, hearing this, it was just kind of amazing to me because as men across the board, in general in society, we are taught to have full obligation for a woman.
Hmm.
You see the difference there?
Yeah.
So that motivates women to have cunning.
Right, right. They
So,
have to use
for a reason.
yeah, they have to use their the tactics of manipulation
Hmm.
as their mechanism for survival, since they can't overpower men physically. That's what they use.
Right.
So, I mean, that's part, like you said, like you mentioned, it's a biological thing. That
Hmm.
for them to be dishonest is a biological thing. I
Right.
just, I just, that's what I feel anyway. We ain't fucking psychiatrists and shit, but that's just what that's the way it feels.
Yeah. I mean, if anything, I mean, if you want to jump back to number three, which was consistency,
Hmm.
women are consistent in the fact that they are inconsistent.
Facts, facts, facts on that, son. Facts on that. All right, Mr. Lando, we done brought it down from 10 all the way to 1, being the most important. What we felt, ladies and gentlemen, is
Drum roll,
big thing on the list. Drum roll, please. Mr. Lando, what's number 1?
accountability.
Hey man. Hey man, sir.
Accountability is the biggest thing that women fail at. And
Absolutely.
I'm sure a lot of the men out here know what I'm talking about. Women have the inability to take responsibility for their actions,
Absolutely, dude.
inability to
Absolutely.
take responsibility for what they say, especially when it comes to in the contents of having to eat crow, having to really own this stuff to the point
A-
where they have to apologize. Women
Absolutely.
will never apologize for anything.
Apologize for what? That apology comes with conditions, and
Yeah.
that is not a true apology.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, if a woman
Conditions.
fixes her mouth to actually apologize about something, you know what is always followed by? An
Mm.
excuse.
An excuse or a benefit for her.
Mm.
You
Yeah,
feel
yeah,
me?
yeah, I have to explain that one.
As in, like, she might apologize to a particular person that she has wronged in order to gain access back to whatever it was she lost access to.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
You
So,
feel
so
me?
basically, the apology is not going to hurt anywhere near as bad as losing the benefit.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
so as a woman, she won't apologize for the sake for or for the fact that she did something wrong. It's not
Right.
about rebuilding the relationship or
Right.
or or you
She
know,
just lost something and she wants to gain that back.
yeah. You know what? That kind of pathology kind of reminds me of I was having a conversation with a woman
Mm,
uh about I think it was talk we were talking about communication
mm-hmm.
and how important is that in a relationship. How important is it? Do you tell your significant other everything?
Right.
And it was a group of people, and the discussion was mainly some people were saying guys don't want to tell everything because they're more concerned about the woman turning on them in their moment of vulnerability.
Right. Right. True.
you know so this one woman came out and said, well, I would be pissed if my man wasn't telling me that he was feeling some type of way.
Mm-hmm.
And And then so I said, I was like, so you're more angry at the fact that he didn't tell you versus the fact that he's the one hurting. You're
Right.
more concerned about having that power and that information over him versus actually restoring the balance in who he is as a man in respect to the relationship.
Wow. Wow. That's hit her hard right there.
Yeah, yeah, and it's like, as men, we don't think like that. Like
No.
if we're with a woman and we see she's in pain, we forget about ourselves and we think about trying to restore who she was because if she's happy, we're happy.
Yup. That's the
That's the
general
general thought.
right. That's the general rule of thumb, right? So
Yeah,
that supposedly we were, how we
but
were
women
brought.
don't think that way.
Mm-mm.
Since women are emotional creatures that kind of like amplify and absorb emotions,
Hmm.
they think like, oh, he's in pain. That's making me feel bad. I can't be around him.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Or
Right.
either he needs to be a man and fix himself.
Yep. Ah, that's so that one right there is so on point, man. That
Yep.
how they act when it comes to a man and his and the way he needs to regain his confidence in himself, you know.
Yeah.
But I hope you people have enjoyed this top 10 list that me and Mr. Lando have created for you. I'm gonna throw in the other list. If you see up in the corner, click the description, go to that list, check it out. Mr. Lando put his foot in that one too. And man, I want to say thank you again for tuning in tonight. We're gonna come back to you once again. Hit the like, the subscribe button, bang the bell. Make sure fucking YouTube sends you your notifications because they be bullshitting. I'm gonna tell you, they be bullshit. They'll unsubscribe you. They will unsubscribe you from channels, especially MGTOW. So keep an eye out, peoples. We gonna be back here again next Monday, live again, always unapologetically men. I'm your host, Max, aka Maximilian, and my co-host with me,
Lando.
and we out this bitch.
Peace.